Hi everybody, welcome. Happy Friday. I am so thrilled to be here with you today. Today I'm going to be interviewing a medium, Daniel John. So I'm just going to add Daniel and we're going to begin. Hi everyone, welcome to this live again. Welcome. I'm giving everybody time to get on. I'm so excited to be here with you today. My name is Debbie Sugarbaker. I am the host of the Cosmic Chats with Debbie Sugarbaker podcast. And today I am so thrilled that I get to have medium Daniel John on with me. He's going to be sharing with us about his skills, his gift, and how he came to it, and also to do a live reading. So thank you so much for joining. I am so excited. I see some people getting on. I'm just thrilled about this. I'm so happy to be here with you today. Daniel is a medium. So Daniel, maybe you can just introduce yourself a little bit.
I was thinking, you know who you kind of look like? You kind of look like Emma. You ever been told that before?
I have.
Thank you for having me. Happy birthday, Mama. So my name is Daniel. Can you hear me okay? Because I have my headphones if you can't.
I think the headphones would be better.
Oh, really?
It's a little bit faint, if you don't mind.
Yep, hold on.
Everyone is joining. It's so great because now we're getting people are getting a chance to get on. Welcome, everybody. My name is Debbie Sugarbaker. I'm the host of the Cosmic Chats with Debbie Sugarbaker podcast, which you can find on all major platforms. And I'm so excited to have Daniel John with me here today. He is a medium and he's going to introduce himself, and then we're going to get to some questions.
So, can you hear me any better now?
Yes,
okay.
Much better.
So my name is Daniel. Personally, I'm a husband and father of 3 kids, 9, 6, and 4 years old. I have the 4-year-old here now, so he's watching his iPad. And, pretty much a regular everyday guy. But about 5 years ago, I had an experience in a restaurant where a woman's husband came through to me somehow. This is before I believed in anything with mediumship, being raised Catholic, a saved Christian. And I didn't know what happened, but I did know that I found out after that he passed quickly right in front of her. And she never got to say goodbye. So somehow, some way, he used me from where he is to communicate to her, and it was powerful. It was strong. It was healing. And at that point, that's when I took a step back and re-looked at my whole belief system. And I, from 2017 until now, I've been on a mission to try to, I don't think we could fully understand life and why we're here. But I've read a lot of books. I've done over 2,000 mediumship sessions of communicating with spirit. And they have a lot to share with us. And if you're open-minded enough to think and understand and believe that we come from something greater, there's so much more to enjoy in this life that you can even imagine.
Wow. That is so powerful and so interesting that you were at a restaurant in Boston, because I'm from Boston.
Oh, no way. Yeah, it was at it's a really long Italian name, it's something downtown. They have a really big restaurants in a basement.
Maggiano's now.
Yeah, maybe if they have a basement.
So crazy. So crazy. So that's really interesting. And also the reason why I started this podcast was because last year when I was actually in Boston, I had kind of like another kind of spiritual or energetic awakening for me, and kind of like of what I needed to do and how I needed to kind of share the things that had helped me in my life. And so it's interesting. It was also in Boston when I was visiting there. So must be something there. And the reason is because I had gone through loss of my brother and my father. So that's why another reason why I'm so excited to be interviewing you today. But I'm just putting that out there so people know a little bit about where I'm coming from. But I want to keep talking about you. So so you came to it in kind of a roundabout way, right? It just came to you. And what are the things that you do how do you tap in, and what are the things that you do to develop your gift? Because I know that there are a lot of people, by the way, right now who are kind of awakening, like I had another awakening to different gifts and missions, especially in this time of COVID. So what can you share with people about that, about what you did to develop your gift?
Well, I do talk about it a little bit in my book, which I just went and grabbed. It's called Why Are We Here? And I talk about number one, loving more than anything else. It's just being love. And that's kindness, all the things we know in our soul that are the right things to do. Kindness, forgiveness, compassion, helping other people, kind of the same things Jesus taught us, not to go down the religious soapbox. Oh, hey. But just being a good person.
So weird.
And
He doesn't always come to these. He feels like he wants to be close.
yeah. So, we are energy, and we raise our vibration, and we resonate more with who we are as love, which I think is the only word that can really describe who we actually are. The more you can communicate with the spirit world, and those types of things allow you to get to that point because you're in a higher vibration than you would be if you're not doing those things. So it's those things like quote unquote Satan, quote unquote devil, that bring our vibration down. So sorry.
Things of fear. I'm so sorry about that. My neighbor has a big dog, and he's like, it's like his trauma, and I always hope that he's not going to walk by in the moment.
Of course.
But if you could just,
no worries.
Maybe if you could just knock it off. If you could just repeat what you were saying. You said not to be in fear, correct?
Yeah, I mean, fear and these words that we put on negative emotions like anger, fear, sin, devil, Satan, they're all negative vibrations, and they lower our vibrations. But when we do things of love and kindness and happiness and positivity and listening to good music and meditation, those are the kind of things that can raise our vibration, because you don't need to go to a medium. We're all technically a medium. All medium means is a halfway between two extremes. So when someone communicates to the spirit world, like Paul did when he wrote the Bible, or like Jesus did when he talked to Moses on the mountain in Matthew 17, we all have the ability to communicate with the spirit world and help us ourselves and help other people at the same time. So it's just, and I talk about it in my book, it's just doing the right thing.
Wow, it's so powerful. And like I said, especially for this time, I feel like you're a pioneer, and I'm so happy to connect with you because like I said, a lot of people that I know that I'm connected with and through this podcast are awakening to their own gifts. And it's like we're coming to a time where more people need to be aware of that divine within, and that they have that connection, and that you don't need somebody else. Of course, it's so helpful when we have somebody who has gifts who can kind of lead us forward. But I like that your approach is kind of like, also find it for yourself. Also know that you have that divine within you, and that you can connect with those higher vibrations, and that it's possible, and that it's there for you. So that's beautiful.
Yeah, God will put the right people in your life at the right time. It's all about trust. But if you're struggling, you don't really need anyone else. You don't need anyone else besides yourself. All answers are within. And so and I teach as well, and I teach you that you don't need to go to a medium or a psychic or even a priest or a counselor. You can, they're helpful, but at the same time, it's all within you. And all a true teacher does is help you find the answers within yourself. They don't tell you what they believe or what they feel. They help you get to your answers because it's your path.
That's beautiful. I love that. And then you're not following like something out there. It's coming from within you, which is connected with desire, which is connected with passion, which is connected with truth, right?
Which is connected to the universe, which is one. I mean, universe, union, it's all one. And in my opinion, we use a word called God, but some people call it Yahweh, some people call it universe, some people call it everything. But I think that the ocean we can call God, and we're just a drop in that ocean. We're all a part of the greater whole, and we're just a different reflection of something greater that we can't even understand. So all we can do is love. That's the best way that I can describe it.
Wow. So beautiful. So something that just came to mind, which I don't know why, but like I was thinking, when you wake up in the morning with this consciousness, this is a very elevated consciousness to have. Is there something that you do maybe to cultivate it, or something that you do to like awaken it, or to bring yourself into that vibration, into that space? We can get so stuck in the physicality and in the movies that movies that we think are real, situations that cause us to feel anxious, to feel stressed, to feel like, we're sinking a little bit, right? We can get stuck in the physicality. So is there something that you do in the morning to bring yourself up to this higher vibration?
Well, the short answer is gratitude. I think being thankful for all the blessings, even if you have some, is huge. If you're at the point where you can't even find any, I think it's prayer. And of course, hopefully most people can, but it's prayer, and it's doing all the things, the right things, the kindness, the happiness to get you to that vibration. And then once you're there, it's being thankful for what you have. And then more blessings come on top of that, because it's almost like, because we're energy, when we think positively, when we act positively, we get positive things. Now, don't get me wrong, those those shitty things, excuse me for swearing, are going to happen, but find the blessing in that thing and then make it greater. And so being aware of all your blessings is huge.
Wow. When and another thing, I was actually really fascinated when I saw your profile, because you are somewhat, like you said, you're within the religious world, right? You grew up, I guess you said Catholic, and then you were born again Christian, and it's really interesting that you are able to be open about this gift, which maybe sometimes in the, I'm in kind of a different community, but I know that in more traditional religious circles, things like mediumship are a little bit like looked at as like, you can't be doing that or whatever. But maybe you can just, I see you as kind of like a rebel in a good way, like you're actually awakening people to something really powerful.
Yeah, I don't like the word, but I got to use it because I'm a very straight shooter, but I also am very I use words for what their definitions are, but
Right.
it's ignorance, and all ignorance means is a lack of knowledge.
Right.
So, I've been it's funny. I said some points I've gotten called the devil from some Christians, and I've actually gotten called a Bible thumper by some in the psychic community. So I get it from both sides. But in the end of the day, I don't think spirituality and religion should be any separate. In my opinion, Jesus, when he did hand healing, we just call it Reiki. And
Right.
when you even take it away from Jesus and you look at Ananias, who healed Paul, who ended up writing half the New Testament, he was healed by a regular everyday man who was spoken to by the Lord. It's called Reiki. So if you look at all the gifts that we call in the psychic community, they're all mentioned throughout the Bible. They're just mentioned through different translations. When Jesus in chapter 8 was writing on the ground, I don't know if you remember the verse where Jesus is talking to a woman who was the Pharisees brought her to him, and he was writing in the ground. That's automatic writing. It's what the psychic community, the spiritual, calls automatic writing. Why was Jesus writing in the dirt? He was receiving messages from spirit. So they're really, to me, my goal is to bridge the gap between spirituality and religion. And there's tons of books, I'm getting goosebumps, about the Bible and how to read the Bible properly and not read it in an ignorant way. It's all love and nothing but love. So my job as a educated, quote unquote, Christian. Now, when I say Christian, I follow the teachings of Jesus. And sometimes that doesn't align with scripture to me. And that, most of the time it does. But there's certain things I've read and words that were changed that I've looked into that I don't 100% agree with. But that's the beauty of life. And I personally say I read the Bible every day. But if you want to read the Bible, read it. And you're going to read it different than someone else. As long as you're coming from a place of love, it doesn't matter what you think John 3:3 means when Jesus said to be born again. Does it mean you become a Christian? Does it mean you literally be born again in the earth? Does it mean you're born again in the spiritual world? Because birth in the spiritual world is our death. So it's the same thing. So to me, it's all about love, and it's and being open-minded to any interpretation. And I really want to bridge that gap, because I wasn't really taught. I heard that, mediumship was the devil or demonic. And I do get some of these people once in a while who are very set on the fact that it is, but anyone who's open-minded enough to listen to what I have to share about it and the verses that I can share to help you kind of open your mind a little bit, the better off will be, because it's all about love.
That's beautiful. And it's interesting that you spoke about all of that. I mean, just to throw it out there, I come from maybe 15 years now studying the ancient wisdom of Kabbalah, which I found when I was like 21. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting because it's basically based on the book of the Zohar, which is like 2,000 years old, which talks about the secrets within the Torah. And like revealing like the secrets and the deeper meaning. There's like different levels of studying Torah basically. And Sod, which means secret, is connected with the Kabbalah, which is talking about the spiritual meaning and the spiritual lessons and depth and wisdom that apply to us here and now. Not that it happened in the past and it was just a historical thing that we're reading about, but actually that those apply to our spiritual process today. So, for example, this week is talking about Jacob and Esau, and all these these lessons that we can learn for ourselves. So it's interesting because I feel like we're a little bit aligned in terms of being able to look for the spirituality that comes from the Bible. So,
yeah, and just a real quick thing, I was the Christian that would use a Bible verse, like I would use Corinthians 6:9 back when I was known, not to use the word again, ignorant. and saying, no, this is not how it's supposed to be. And I would try to change people and get them to believe what I believe. And then when this all happened, I was like, all right, let me take a step back. And that's when I have a closer relationship with Jesus now than I ever had, even as a fundamentalist, Judeo-Christian. So
Right.
now, but when you say that, the old me 5 years ago would have been like, oh man, maybe you got to read the New Testament, But now it's like, great, you want to read the Bhagavad Gita, you want to be Hindu, Buddhist, Muslim, whatever. It's okay. We're all living our own path, and we're supposed to live on those paths. And the more as a society that we are open-minded to other people's beliefs and opinions and everything like that, the better
And
off the world will be.
tolerance, right?
Yeah,
Like, I don't
flexibility.
have to agree with you, but I understand that the creator is also in you, and the divine is also in that person. So they have their own path. So I may not agree with everything because we're not supposed to. We're not supposed to all be the same, but we are one at one level, at the spiritual level.
Yeah, it's Zach Brown talks about it in his song, "The Same Boat." But we're all in the same boat. We all wake up the same. We all fish in the same hole. We all have our own beliefs, and we can agree to disagree peacefully. It doesn't. That's okay. It's all okay.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, okay, so we kind of got off on our own, went off the path here, but that's to be expected. Usually when I'm talking with someone who's very like a channeler, so I kind of let the conversation lead itself. But I was wondering if maybe you can tap in now and do a reading. Can you do something? Can you tap in? Can you feel like it's
Can you do
possible?
so? Yeah, it happens. It happens when it's supposed to. I will tell you that when you mentioned your dad and your brother, and I'm sorry for your loss, by the way, I immediately saw a birthday cake. And usually, so what I like to explain to people is, as a medium, I don't hear spirit. I don't see them. I'm kind of happy I don't. But I do get impressions and feelings, and I get songs. And so when I, for instance, like we have symbols. And when I see a birthday cake, that means that either someone's birthday is like right now, like last week, next week, this week, not like months apart or next month, last month. It's usually now, within the first few days.
Harry.
Also, too, I'll get like
so
groups
sorry.
of letters. It's all right. I'll get like groups of letters, which usually will symbol somebody who's like a name. And I may get the name John, but it could be Jason. And so sometimes... That's all right. Sometimes it can be distracting, depending on which letters come through. Right. So it's really hard to explain to people how it works, but I do the best I can through symbols. But would you understand why a birthday cake would come through for you?
Well, the thing that I was thinking is that actually it's going to be next week, my brother's death anniversary. So 3-year death anniversary. So I thought maybe like that.
So,
maybe not a birth anniversary, but a death anniversary.
Well, here's the only reason I'll accept that, and I'll tell you why. And this is how Spirit's amazing for anyone who's been watching the whole time. When I mentioned John 3:3, by the way, and I mentioned that Jesus says that he...
my brother was really into Jesus.
Okay, so I wouldn't be surprised if he was using this as his way. Is he the J? Oh, J's like Jesus. Okay, perfect. So this all makes sense. And this is... this is the stuff that happens. It's beyond our understanding, right? So I was going to immediately, I got goosebumps, right? So I was going to shut you down and say, nope, birth dates and death dates, they do not show me a cake. But you remember how I said in John 3:3, oh, by the way, it's coming up on 3 years that he died. I meant major goosebumps. I don't know if you can see them. But I mentioned that you can interpret that verse as being saved as a Christian. You could interpret the verse of being born again into this world. Or what I said was, you can look at it as Jesus saying you need to be born again into the spiritual world, which is actually our death and their birth. You remember me saying that?
Right.
I don't know if you remember that when the dogs.
I remember you saying that.
So this is your brother's way. Now I don't see him. I can't. Hey Walker, can you turn that down just a little bit for me, bud? So this is a long leveled way for to let you know that your brother is not only with Jesus, that's the J, that's why I said John or Jason, and he may be the J name too, I don't know, but that his passing was not only supposed to happen, but, I'm sorry to say it so bluntly, but he's now with Jesus or with God or with his belief system or in the right energy. So it's not only the fact that it's 3 years, and we talked about John 3:3, but his passing date was his birth date on the other side. And it's, to me, it's a celebration. So it's for you to say, especially if he was the type of person who either wasn't prepared, it was sudden, or he didn't quote unquote want to go. which, applies to a lot of people. This is like, no, sis, I'm good. I'm with Jesus. I'm on the other side, three, and multiple levels. I mean, can you understand the depth of that and how he's communicating to that? He also shows me a yo-yo, which is a lot of, so it could be symbolic of that he had one, or the symbolic meaning of yo-yo is you've been through a lot of pretty heavy ups and downs over the last 6 months to a year. And he wants to let you know that he's aware of it. It also has to do with your mom. It's also kind of putting your mom on that roller coaster as well. And I don't know if it's because of your relationship or whatever the case is, but he wants to let you know that he's aware. He also shows me the little guys from Pac-Man. You know, the little ghosts from Pac-Man?
Yes.
Why would he show me that?
Little
Because
ghost.
all I do is I see the thing. All I got was the birthday cake, which you said 3 years ago, which kind of was his birth into the spiritual world, which made sense because we said earlier. But now I see the ghost from Pac-Man. Was Pac-Man a big thing for him? And why the ghost? Maybe you could see him. That doesn't usually happen.
I was thinking, like, I have like him and, like I said, my father, and then somebody else that I was really close to. So sometimes I feel like I have them around me, kind of like, not like ghosts, but three guides, three angels. So I don't know if that's that could be it.
Well, I think if it is three, and you think there's a fruit fly, there's my dad, and you think that it possibly is, it's a validation. Why is he showing me cheese? Are you like a big cheese fan, or was he cheese, or was he the big cheese? Because remember, they use some symbols, and you've already seen it. So, but why would he show me cheese? It feels like a funny kind of feeling to me.
Cheese. He was funny.
It feels like a block.
Making a joke.
Yeah, so maybe cut the cheese, or he was a big cheese or something. You could be comfortable, right, if you don't mind. But if I see it, there's something funny about it. Maybe he cut the cheese a lot. I don't know. But there's something funny about the cheese.
Oh, and it used to bother me so much. And I used to like tell on him. I would get so upset.
So, okay, so aside from your...
Why are you doing that? It's so inappropriate.
So aside from your emotion, or aside from your positive, I don't want to bring you to any different type of emotion, but he makes me feel like there's certain times where now again, it has nothing to do with cutting a cheese and he's being funny, but it has to do with you reflecting on some of the things maybe that you could have done different when he was here, or maybe that you could have spent more time with him before he passed. And so he's like, no, don't worry about it. We had fun. I know you were, not that you were tough on him, but he makes me feel like you were a little bit more straight edge and he was like a little bit more, kind of off the cuff. I don't know if that makes sense, but he's like, don't regret, or don't think back of the times that you could have done something different or spent more time with me or made an extra call to me. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Or send him a text or whatever. Now, did he do mushrooms, or do you grow mushrooms? Because he's showing me mushrooms.
I've recently been taking like reishi, and I love all like turkey tail and like mushrooms.
Okay, so I'm sorry to cut you off. As a medium, I'll cut people off. He wants me to let you know, oh, that's interesting, I'll say that not only is he happy about your path, but he's more supportive than you would think he would be, especially because of I don't know if it was because he was Jesus and religious and you're more on the spiritual, and we talked about the differences between them, but he's almost like, I'm more proud of you than you could imagine, or that you would even understand. So do you wonder if, like, because of this path you're on and because he was more Jesus, that he would not be? Because he's just making me feel like, yes, I'm so proud of you. And he makes me feel like you're even further than you even ever expected from a spiritual growth kind of perspective. Because I feel this shift with you. I don't know, about half your life ago, or I don't know how old you are, where you kind of just were open to new discoveries, even before he passed, I would say. But he's just making me aware that you, of how proud he is for the path that you're on, if that makes sense.
It's so on point. I actually have chills because I really have opened up recently, and just in being like, to be less regimented in my thinking and in the way that I approach life. And he was very much like out there. He loved music. He was very artistic. He loved like the Grateful Dead. He was really into like Jesus and all of that, but he had like these, he was also kind of like this creative. So I've been stepping more into my creativity and into more of my true self, as opposed to what I feel that, I need to be, which is, how I was raised. So maybe he's saying like, good for you for kind of breaking down some of the conditioning in that way.
Yeah, and breaking through to who you truly are. He's laughing and showing me elbow pads. Did you like do something with elbow pads or something? Or is there a picture of you with elbow pads? I can't even imagine what he's laughing about it.
There could be, because elbow pads. elbow pads, because we were always playing like, we played like street. We did rollerblading when we were younger. We used to wear elbow pads, bikes.
Is there someone with a Q name of all names, like Quincy or
Yes,
Quinn?
my new niece, Quinn.
Shut
She was just born. And by
up.
the way, it's such a weird name. Not a weird name. It's a beautiful name, but it's not like traditional to our family. It's very like cool. Quinn, my
You're
new
obviously
niece.
being serious. All right,
I'm
see,
being
this is
serious.
great. Okay,
My little
this first,
brother. It's my little brother's daughter. And when you said cheese, I thought
this is,
Chi, because we call Peter Chi. So
that's
that's what came into my
so,
mind. I thought, oh, he's talking about Peter, our other brother.
that's the stuff that like blows my mind. It's not like Joe or Mike, it's Quinn. It's a
Quinn.
name. Like
Exactly.
that's how powerful spirit can be when you're at a high vibration. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. There's more to it, but I'm going to get to it. But for the people that are on, like I felt a little nervous saying it because Q is not a common letter, and sometimes they'll show me Q for like Impractical Jokers, like because there's a guy named Q on there,
Yeah.
but that's usually a different symbol. I don't see the Quinn, and I got that's her name. Like that's crazy.
That's her
Okay,
name.
so the feeling is, please let your brother know that your other brother. I'm assuming you have two because the one's passed. I'm assuming that's not
Yeah.
his daughter. It's your.
It's
So
my other brother. There's
makes.
actually uh, two more boys and one
Oh
more
wow.
girl. So there's six of us, but now
But
there's
his
five.
but his point is to say, and the Pac-Man thing's coming up again, so it may make sense with your brother too. So you could it's the ghost one. So if you don't validate the Pac-Man, you can let him know. Like maybe your brother will be like, oh, I feel like he's watching me because he is. Because is that his first one, or would that be
His
your?
first daughter, yeah.
Okay, so he makes me
And
feel
by the
like
way, we call him Chi. So it's like when you said
so
cheese, I thought of
chi,
Chi. I
yeah,
thought he was talking
yeah,
about him.
and that's how it works.
Yeah.
But it also got us to another message about his personality, and
Right.
that was supposed to happen that way, as crazy as it sounds. So please tell a little brother that I'm watching and very proud of him, because I don't know if he's young for having a kid, or maybe we didn't think he was going to have a kid or something like that. But he's just very proud of who he's become. And I don't know if he named the middle name or they were thinking about it. So if he didn't, make sure he knows he's not offended if they didn't do that, or maybe there's another one with his name or something. There's something about a namesake, but just more than anything else, letting him know that he's part of that child's growing up, and he's not going to miss out on that. Because I feel like, is that the first grandchild or the first niece or
It's
nephew for you guys?
no, but because my older brother and sister both have, but
Okay.
she was just born. So she was born after Nate's passing, and so she was just born like last year. She's like a baby, like 6 months. I still
Okay.
need 7 months.
Okay. So it's the first
Excuse me
one
if I'm
since he's
off. I
passed.
need to.
That's
Yeah,
all right. So it's the first one since he's passed.
it's the first one since he's passed. Yeah.
Okay. So it would be, and it's his first one too, the
And it's
father.
his first one, yeah. Although
Okay.
he took on, like you said, he's proud of him because he took on responsibility. He has two stepsons also, so, and he's young. He's younger than me, so he's
And he
doing
makes me feel like he took it the hardest, or he was the closest with him. I'm not sure, but there's almost like the father of this Quinn baby, which is still crazy to me, is the one who kind of really needs to hear this to
okay.
let him know, especially because if he's the Chi guy. Is he the Chi guy? You said?
Yeah, that's Chi.
Yeah, yeah. And does he have his hat? Do you know if the Chi guy has your brother's
He
hat?
probably he most likely he has a hat of his. Yeah.
Okay. Would you validate that brother has taken it harder than some of the other brother? I mean, obviously it's
Yeah.
you lose a brother, but when they show me someone in pain, and I know we didn't plan on this. Sorry, I hope this is good, but he shows me that he has a deep, deep, deep sadness within his chest for your brother. And so I think that, maybe showing him this and saying, hey, your brother came through. We talked about, and I think the Pac-Man's going to mean something. But it'll all make sense to him. I mean, Quinn, you can't make that up.
You can't make that up.
You know,
Amazing.
so it is wild. So I sometimes even shock myself, as you can see. There's no way I could know that. It's not even a common name, and this is just his way over there from letting me know that, oh, and the mushrooms are coming through again. So don't forget, and he's fun. He's like fun, funny, kind of, don't forget that you need to take away how proud he is for you and to keep going. He's almost saying like, keep going, keep doing what you're doing, because you're helping a lot of people. Just bring awareness to growth and love and light, so.
That's exactly what I'm trying to do. Wow, so powerful. Thank you.
Did you just get a new pair of shoes? Because it's his way to let me know he's still with you. Did you just buy a new pair?
I was yeah, actually I got a new pair of boots and I was looking for more shoes online. So
like today or yesterday?
last night, yeah.
Okay.
I was looking at shoes last night.
Good job, buddy. Yeah, so that's his way to let you know that he's still with you, and he wants nothing more than your happiness. And I actually even think this will help you with your grief as well. And I think this might help some of your family, especially if they don't know me or they, because he makes me feel like most people are supportive of what you do, but some people just don't understand in your family. So
Yeah, exactly. Wow, so strong. So, wow, thank you so much. That was really, really powerful. Oh my gosh, if anything else comes through.
yeah, I just get the number 18, so I don't know if something's January 8th or the 18th of a month, or he was 18 when he passed, or it happened 2018.
Happened
But I get
2018.
that's when he passed.
2018. And also in like Kabbalah and in the Jewish tradition, 18 is Chai, which is life.
Oh, no way. I don't know.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
numerical.
Okay, so again, leave it up to your brother. Full circle message. He's alive. This is he almost makes me feel like I feel more alive than I did when I was there. And that is going to sound oxymoronic because he was this kind of person that was alive and like lived life. But it's almost like to the 21 people and you and I that are on here, like you're even more alive when you return home and he's alive. And I think the message would be actually to your parents and to your family to let them know that he's still alive. He's not gone. I'm more alive than I've ever been.
Wow.
He's also playing me like songs with alive in it, like Bon Jovi.
He loved music. This is
Uh,
typical.
I Just Want to Fly by Sugar Ray, maybe.
Oh my god.
I just want to fly. You ever heard that song?
He was like that. He was this really bright light, you know? He
So
had
yeah,
full
so I
life.
got so to me, if you could take all the human judgments and ego out of it to tell your family that he's home, even though they're not with him technically by our understanding, but he's home, he's flying, he's high, he's loving, and everything's great, and he's still alive more than and he's almost like, I hope Daniel proved that to you, right? I mean, who
Wow.
says Quinn? I mean, I don't even know you, no offense, but I mean, like that's a
Beautiful little
specific name.
Quinn.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's crazy. It's crazy. So yeah, to let you know, especially the 18, and that it means that, and he passed in 2018. Let the family know I'm all good.
Wow. Beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. And he's with my dad, so my dad passed the same 3 months before him. So.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry about that. Then there's the 3 again, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you're allowed, if you have time for me to bring your dad through, but so when they show me like an anvil, that thing like in the cartoons where you get that really heavy thing that falls.
Yeah.
Did he either pass quickly or was it like just the hardest? I mean, I don't know how to put
with
this.
my father?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like he got diagnosed with something, and then it was like boom. It took a year, but it was really difficult because it came very like unexpectedly and boom. And he wasn't, he was still rather young, and he still wanted to. He still had stuff he wanted to do.
I don't know why they're showing me this, but I'm seeing a color, like a coloring book, but it's blank. It's not colored. Do you know what this could be? Usually they show me crayons when someone's a teacher, but that's not the symbol I'm getting. So even if you have a big family, someone could be a teacher, but did someone not color something for him or half color something for him? Or is he maybe using it as a symbol?
Coloring. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm working
strong.
on a book that was my father's. I don't know if that's it.
You're working on a book?
Wait. Yeah, that was my father's.
You're continuing his book?
Yeah.
So maybe blank pages? Is there artwork in there?
No. Blank pages. I mean, it could be just like a.
Oh, I got it. Wait, let me validate this. Have you not done too much with it yet? Like you got a lot more to do kind of thing?
I need to return to it again.
Okay. So, I know this is a little bit of a stretch, but I'll say it. I almost feel like when you do return to it, it will be the right time. So don't say to yourself and to everyone on here too, there's something called divine timing. It's in God's time. But I feel like the reason you're not to is because you're not supposed to yet. And then when you do, it's all going to be filled in for you. You may even experience, again, this is the full circle of, I didn't even expect this happening today. Remember how I mentioned the 2 things in the Bible about John 3:3 and Jesus writing? Right. Well, don't forget John chapter 8, verse 3 is where it starts, is where Jesus starts writing in the sand. And that's automatic writing. So when you're at a high vibration like Jesus was, you can channel stuff from the spiritual world. That's how Mozart and Beethoven and Michelangelo, these were all these artists and musicians, they were all at a high vibration. They were getting this, all this stuff comes from the spiritual world, from who we truly are. So I feel like Dad's saying, in due time, when you get to the book, it's just gonna flow. You're not gonna have to overthink it. It's also a symbol of.
By the way, let me just validate this, because I've done in my life, I've been a ghostwriter for different spiritual leaders and whatever. So that's basically been what in the beginning of our conversation, what came into my mind when you were talking was like the automatic writing. Yeah, that's my thing. So it's really crazy that you're doing this.
Crazy. So this is Dad's support. For some reason, I'm going to stick with this. He doesn't have much to say right now. It isn't his time, but it was enough to kind of give you a little bump. But it's not. He's kind of being like, I don't know if he was dry, kind of funny, in like a dry way, not like ha ha ha, but kind of like subtle. I don't know if he didn't speak a lot, but when he spoke, people listened. I don't know how to interpret it, but it's almost like, hey, I want to pop in. Don't worry about the book. It'll happen when it's supposed to, and it'll just flow when the time comes. And to let you know, he's very supportive of you as well, but he's kind of like stepping back.
Okay.
But I do see
his venue here. It's a little more.
That's okay. And there's something about a sunflower, so I don't know if that's the third person you connect with, or with him, or with your mom, but there's something about a sunflower.
I think it's more the third person.
Okay, how do you connect with that with the third person? Because again, if there's 3 people, and this has been the theme of the
she was like a spiritual guide for me. So she was, a sunflower is. I believe we both love sunflowers.
So who's the M name?
M?
Mm-hmm. Could be living or past. And again, M is the most common letter, but we got Quinn, so I'm okay with saying M. Is there a Martha or and I know Mary's everybody's grandma, but I got to say it. Mary, Martha, or what's that girl? Why are you showing me that person? Oh my gosh, I can't imagine why you show me that. I'll just say it. Do you remember have you ever seen the movie Grown Ups with Adam Sandler?
No. But I like Adam Sandler a lot.
So in that movie, there's a woman, she kind of looks like Aunt Jemima. So I don't know if the third person was African-American, or if there is a woman who's African-American. Have you ever connected with your spirit guide?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I almost see it's like an Aunt Jemima, like African-American woman, a little heavier set. When they're giving me the M name. So you might find that who's the third person, by the way, if you don't mind me asking?
A friend, like a friend, basically.
So you may find that their friend was this person, right, who you might want to connect with. So again, names can be living or past. As we've seen, it's already someone who's living. But there's something with the M and something like Aunt Jemima kind of like picture I'm getting. So I don't know if it's their friend, and you may find out who that is later, but it might be connected to your mom, actually. Is the person that you lost, did they know your mom, the friend? Or it could be their mom. So I just get mother feeling. So you can hold on to that. And this is an example too. Like I'll have sessions with someone, and it's like, oh my gosh, validation. And then it's like, boom. And now whoever this energy is showing me McDonald's as well. So you can take that, and you may figure it out in 6 months. I
think it's an M, because actually the person that just called me starts with an M, and it's a really good friend of mine who's been in my life recently, and his name starts with M, and he just called. I don't know.
Maybe that woman would be associated with him, like a motherly figure. So, and then M also like McDonald's. So a lot of times they'll go and they'll reiterate something like that. And the sunflowers is coming through as well. So it might be with a friend, with a person, and you can validate it. But there's an example of, it was your brother, right? Dad popped in and said some very validating things. I don't know who this third person is. Maybe it was the sunflower and then someone else came in. Or maybe that sunflower person, like, oh my gosh, she had this person who was, so it's always,
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting because the friend who starts with an M brought me a sunflower to my door. So I don't know.
Wait, the one that called or the one that passed?
The one that just called. Who's here?
Literally here?
No, like he's here in the, not
Oh,
here in
okay.
the house, but
I thought like he just brought you a sunflower. He or she just
no,
brought you
he
a
brought me a
sunflower.
sunflower like at some point. So I don't know.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, you'll figure it out. Maybe
Yeah.
he had a teacher 10 years ago that passed away who was a description.
Who's trying to come through? Someone
Yeah,
for him.
you'd be shocked. It's wild that experience. And I'm writing a second book, and I'm gonna include. And one of them is actually a story about a 9-year-old boy who passed, and he came through, and he's been part of my life ever since I met him. And I didn't meet him until after he passed. Just like Saul met Jesus after he passed. Saul, same thing. I didn't meet this kid until after he already had passed, but he's like
You feel his energy
all
around,
the time.
able to
My
decipher.
kid, yeah, my kids wear all of his, all of his stuff. Like I'm friends with his mom, and I never met him physically, but I have a connection with him. He helps me with my sessions sometimes, especially if it's a child's coming through. I've done over 1,000 sessions for children past.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
It's powerful.
Incredible. Really powerful. Well, I so appreciate that you were able to connect, especially with my brother, and super cool. I wanted to see if there's any other message that's coming through for all of the beautiful souls that have connected. And thank you so much, everyone. I've been seeing your comments and your support and your love coming through, and I can actually feel it. I can feel that we have like a group of souls with us here, and I so appreciate you being a part of my journey and a part of my path today. And if you have any message that's coming through from Spirit for all the souls who are watching this or who will watch it, that would be amazing. It'd be incredible. Maybe something particular, something.
Yeah, yeah. They're kind of my favorite Bible verse, but I'll summarize it and then maybe read it. Is we all come from something greater. A lot of people call it God, love, universe, whatever. But we come from something greater, and I don't think we're humanly equipped to fully understand it. And so the best thing we could do is love each other, treat each other kindly, pray to this being, whatever you believe. I call it God, and let it guide you. All right. And my favorite verse, which I included in my book, is Proverbs 3:5-6. To me, it's life in 4 sentences. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, Lord being something greater than you can understand. And lean not on your own understanding, because we can't understand. Jesus talked about it throughout all Scripture. In all ways acknowledge him, which is the same thing as acknowledging Lord, or something greater, which I think is the combination of everything. God is all things.
Even divine intelligence, even the fact that I'm breathing, that I'm existing here, that we're able to have the conversation. There's a bigger, it's not me who's orchestrating or who's doing that, making the blood pump in my heart. It's a divine intelligence. It's in the dog, it's in the trees, it's in the objects, it's everything, right?
And he shall direct your paths. And so when Lord and him and he, it's all the same thing. We just have different words for it, call it God or whatever. And it's all part of you. You mention it. And I think that's a lot of the thing that some people miss is we are all connected. It doesn't matter. And all through Scripture, it says all, not just certain Christians, certain beliefs, certain religions. It's all the same. It doesn't matter what color, height. We're all God's children. And we're all going to return to that understanding at some point. And I think the one thing I want to leave with is, from what I've learned and I understand, we are souls, energy, part of this divine, that are living a human experience. You literally have virtual reality glasses on as you live your life. Now, the table seems hard, and you got your drink, but in reality, in my opinion, you're experiencing something as a human being. This body, your vehicle, is rented, it's borrowed, and the only thing that you have when you leave your body and your soul returns to love and light, which is where it came from, is love. The love you gave and the love you received. Everything else, money, cars, everything else goes. But you get to take the love that you received and the love you gave. And so and again, when you ask me the question, when I wake up,
yeah,
I get another day to love. And I really mean that. I don't say it I don't, no offense, not that I don't care what people think, but I don't really care in a nice way of what other people think about me, because I know I come from pure love. And when I wake up, I'm so glad I get to live another day and love my kids and love people and be nice to others. And that's what, when you get to that vibration, that's all what it's about. There's nothing, you don't experience negativity. It's amazing.
That's so beautiful. And actually, the third person who I was speaking about, that was one of her big messages. She was kind of a spiritual guide. And her big thing is when you leave this world, you can't take it with you. You can't take, we put focus on everything we want to build and accrue in this life. She actually used to tell a story. There's a story about like the Rockefeller, I believe is the Rothschild or the Rockefeller, no, Rothschild. And he said he wanted to be buried with his socks. He told his family, the only thing I want is to be buried with my socks. But then he wasn't allowed to be buried with his socks in the end. He said, see, you can't even take your socks with you.
Right.
And the idea is that, and then she would say, the only thing that we take with us is the love and the kindness that we've shared and the energy that we've created and shared with others and in that connection with other people. So it's really crazy because that's super aligned. And also what you were saying about the verse that you read, lean not on your own understanding and trust. For me personally, and I did a few lives about this actually recently because I was chatting with friends, we feel like the message is, right now, like it feels like there's a lot of confusion and there's like a lot of things like, that come in at least in my own process that, fears and, the filters through which I see things like, connected with fears and anxieties and whatever. And it feels like the message is learning how to go within and to trust the creator, to trust the universe, to trust life, to know that life has my back and that life is moving me forward into more of the authentic being that I need to be. So I really appreciated that verse, but really, really struck a chord, like so on point, beyond both of those. So thank you so much.
That's awesome.
I see everyone is saying, that it resonated with them. And you know what? It could be that the ones that you brought through actually was for somebody perhaps on the reading. Do you think that somebody's desire is so strong that they could pull somebody trying to get through for someone here? Because I see people, they lost their grandmother. First of all, anybody who said that they lost their pet, they lost their dog, they lost their grandma. My heart is with you, and I'm so sorry for your grief. And perhaps somebody that came through was that image.
Yeah, and I'm sorry for your losses as well
possible.
too. And there's a thing called piggybacking, we call it. And I don't know how it works. I never believed in it until it actually happened to me. And I'll give a really short story. But I went to go see the Long Island Medium, and there's 3,000 people there, and she's giving a session to a
What's her name again?
Long Island Medium, the Teresa Caputo.
Oh yeah, Teresa Caputo. I've watched the show. Yeah.
Yeah, so she was giving a message to someone across the room, and it was for a father who passed, and his name was John, which is my dad's name, and she mentioned the number 4, or April, which is my sister's name, and then she mentioned it kept going on. There was 12 different validations, but she was giving a session to the other guy, but it was my dad, and I wasn't stretching, I wasn't making it fit. It's John, April, and she mentioned 2 inside joke sayings, word for word, that he used to say to me. And I go, she's got the wrong guy. What the heck? But that's not how it works in this. And again, the only way to humanly put this is they piggyback. And what'll happen is the person that got a message while I'm bringing through your dad and your brother and whoever else, they were supposed to be here right now so that their person in spirit could piggyback on the message to them too. Maybe the sunflowers and the 3 and all that stuff made sense for them. That doesn't mean that it wasn't for you or it wasn't for them. It was for both of you. And you were both supposed to hear it. The human logical mind, which again, can't lean on that human logical mind.
Right.
It doesn't make sense.
Right.
Here's another thing. There's no beginning and no end. We even say it in Catholic prayers.
Right.
But there literally is no beginning and there's no end. It's eternal. The human mind has to say there's a beginning and an end. It has to start somewhere. It's not. And if you look through scripture, it really goes to eternity. It talks about eternity. It's having Greek and Hebrew words for eternity. It's forever. And energy, and Einstein said it, right? Einstein's another one who is a high vibration. Energy can't be created or destroyed. He proved it. And we are energy. So it's proven that we're energy through quantum physics. 99.99% of us is empty space. If that's true, which it is, and energy cannot be created or destroyed, then we can't be created and we cannot be destroyed. We just change form. And that's leaving the human body and going into spirit and back. But again, we're limited with our logical mind.
The second law of thermodynamics.
What is that? Something it has to be.
Energy is neither created nor destroyed.
So, and it's proven that that's what we are. Right. And so we don't die. And that's the theory. That's the point behind my book. Like I even say, what if death and life are not what you think they are? That's why your brother mentioned and why John 3:3 was brought up. He's alive. He's more alive than he's ever been. And I've read probably 50 or 60 books on near-death experiences. And there's an overwhelming amount of anecdotal evidence that shows that people that have gotten to that state, don't want to come back. It's better than ever. There's colors and sounds and feelings you can't even imagine. And it's bliss. It's heaven. It's eternity. It's nirvana. It's all the same thing. But it's not necessarily when we leave our body. It's when we recognize that we're something greater than our body. And you can experience heaven literally right here, right now.
So powerful.
And that's,
just to point to that, if anybody wants to go to my podcast or on my Cosmic Chats, I interviewed a woman named Batya Solomon, and she had a near-death experience with COVID, and she basically says the same thing and a lot more, and it's very aligned with what you're saying. So if anyone's interested in hearing an account firsthand, you can check out that on my IGTV or on my podcast. It's an interview with Batya Solomon. So just putting that out there because super aligned. And also, by the way, the Kabbalah says the same thing. It's very aligned. It says that actually that's the real life. And this is, the life where we get to kind of go through a process to
almost, buddy.
Souls.
Yep, absolutely. Sorry, my son was calling me. Yep, 100%. That is also backed up in all of the books I've read, all of them. That there's time, you got to go back, you got to experience this, you got to keep doing. So I always tell people, be nice, love, forgive, have compassion, and just have fun. And do the right thing. Because if you do all those things, life can be amazing. And you're here to experience life and have fun, but just do it in ethical ways. Because as human beings, we get lost. Like I had to quit gambling. I actually quit. I'm just going to say it. I quit watching pornography in 2018. It was something that was a little bit of an issue for me, not bad, but it's not good for your vibration. Gambling. And then I actually now in the last 3 months, almost 4, I only have one drink. If I go out to dinner, go to a wedding, I've been to multiple, I have one drink and that's it. And what that does is it keeps my vibration high that I can serve others. 1 Peter 4, 1 Corinthians 12 talks about using our gifts to help others. It's what Jesus did. So when we all raise our vibrations, we are better equipped to help other people.
Right. Beautiful. And thank you for being so authentic and true and transparent. I'm sure that it's going to help other people. And that's really powerful. So if you have any tip from Spirit on forgiveness.
So in my book.
Forgive or to awaken that spirit inside.
Yeah, in my book in chapter 11, and I'm actually getting a tattoo on Tuesday with a Bible verse, and the word forgive right here is a daily reminder that we constantly have to do it. But it's one of the most powerful things we can do. Anytime we hold a grudge for someone else, that only brings our energy down.
Exactly.
Even if it's someone who did some extreme stuff, even to you. And some of us have some very powerful forgiveness opportunities. It only helps us.
Forgiveness opportunity. Wow, I love how you put that.
Well, in chapter 11, I channeled a forgiveness prayer, or forgiveness exercise. And if you want to get the book, it's in here. And there's a forgiveness party. It's a party. Forgiveness party exercise is backwards, sorry. And I go through and explain the things you can do to forgive everyone for everything. I did about almost 3 years ago now. It's the most peaceful, energetic, healing thing I've ever done. I have no grudges for anyone, for anything at all, not even a little bit. Even if someone comes in and kills me right now, it's part of what the plan was. I know it sounds extreme, but in the book I do give a couple extreme examples of some people who've had ultimate forgiveness, and it only helps themselves and others who see it. So the more you forgive someone for something, the more powerful it is.
Right. It unlocks a big part of our heart energy, right? If you can forgive, because personally, if I feel like I'm holding on to little things or I'm holding on to something against someone, I feel it in this heart space, like if we're talking about energy, and to release that, and then you feel like this warmth and this love and an energy to embody more than unconditional, simple love, just to be that. And that's I think one of the most powerful things in the world is to be able to carry that energy. But for me, it happens by going in and kind of releasing those grudges that I hold here. I'm more of a feeler, so that's how I experience these things.
Yep.
So anyway, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. And if there's anything, final message you want to share before we leave, again, thank you to everybody who watched today.
Yeah, just love everyone, everything, no matter what. No matter what. There's no exceptions to love.
I really hope that this opened up a door for people to think about things in a broader sense, to know that, we don't see everything, and a lot of times what we see is not exactly what's going on. So to cultivate that deeper spiritual trust and that spiritual connection, and that connection to our intuition, and that connection to the divine intelligence, whether through prayer, through meditation, to develop the spiritual aspects of ourselves, is really what's going to give us the strength and the direction to move forward in a world that right now is very chaotic. So that is a really powerful message, and I just appreciate you, and thank you so much, and thank you for everybody who watched.
Thank you for having me. All
Be
right,
in
much love.
touch.
All right,
Thank
much
you,
love. Thank
Daniel.
you.
Okay, bye.